You've tuned into The Mountain Gardener with your host, Ken Lain. Gardening, it can be challenging, but with these simple insider tips, you'll reap huge rewards. Now, let's tune into today's Mountain Gardener with Ken and Lisa. And welcome to this week's edition of The Mountain Gardener. Your host, Ken Lain, here every week talking about the landscapes of northern Arizona. And wow, I'm starting to get a lot of work done out in the yard. Now, things aren't really blooming that much. I've got some pansies that look good, some heucheras or coral bells. They look fantastic. All my evergreens are just shining right now. So the hollies by the front door, the ivies all have lights in them and they're just pretty. It just feels good. I have been taking time to prune back my wildflowers. I've got quite a few wildflowers. They're just stunning. They bloom so easily. They're natural, they're native, low care. Pollinators are attracted to them, butterflies and bees and moths and all the things that you kind of want in your backyard. But now they're just looking brown and they just look rough. Oh my gosh. They were looking too rough. And the dogs were traipsing through them and bringing things indoors. It was time for wildflowers to be cut back. So you can feel free to cut back wildflowers anytime when they start to turn brown. So they're brown to the ground right now. Most. There's a few things, echinaceas, the gaillardias had some green to them. The mums had a few green nubs to them. But really, I just took a lawnmower over them and just mowed them right down. Here's the beauty of that. For my yard, it's probably the entire backyard. Instead of grass, I've got wildflowers. And so I took the lawnmower and just whacked them back there, and the seeds just start flying everywhere. And they're going to reseed for next year. So if that's what you want, go for it. The messier, the better it is. If you don't want wildflowers, let's say it's up against a rock lawn, you might be a little more careful. Just because you're going to spread those seed out, and they're going to come up over there again. So if you want more wildflowers, weed whacker is a great way to go. Just take that weed whacker, just whack it back and get those seeds flying everywhere, and you will have more wildflower seeds next year as we get cold. So starting December, January, and I'd say now through February is the absolute prime time. It is the best time to spread wildflowers out in the yard. If you want wildflowers for next spring, because they'll start germinating starting in March, and then there'll be a wave of different kinds of seeds. So wildflowers, you're starting those by a wildflower mix. That is multiple seeds in this same mix. I've got one that's just straight California poppies. That's it. But even that has different kinds of or colors of poppies in the mix. Orange is the standard, California orange for wildflower, for poppies. Well, they also come in pink and white and reds. And so we blend all those things together. But most of the other wildflowers mixes we've got a Rocky Mountain mix, very showy, big flowers. We've got an Arizona mix, really tough. I mean, like the toughest of the tough. We have a dry mix that is, I never want to care for this thing. It's not quite as pretty as the Rocky Mountain mix. If you can water the Rocky Mountain mix, it'll be bigger, stunnier. It just has more beauty to it, more fragrance. The dry mix has shorter, more drought hardy looking. And then we have our butterfly mix. And so if you want to attract more of those, so there's 4 or 5 different mixes out there, and they'll have up to at least 1 to 2 dozen varieties of seed in there. And the reason we're doing that, it's prettier, first of all. Secondly, not every year does every wildflower bloom. So if you're just letting them go by themselves, you'll notice some years the verbenas are over the top, and some years it's the poppies. Some years so you'll see these ebbs and flows. You'll see these stunning colors, and they bloom at different times. And so you'll have wildflowers, the poppies will bloom first, and then it's the verbena, and then it's penstemons, and then so you'll see this wave of flowers. So you get a longer bloom cycle by putting a mix of wildflowers out there. But going back to when is it the best time to prune back your wildflowers? Well, for me, because the dogs are bringing in some of the seed heads, they've gotten dry, They were sticking their coat and they were just dragging them in the house. I'm going, okay, that is it. I'm not cleaning up after these anymore. The robotic vacuums can't keep up. And so I went, okay, it's time to cut it back, because that happened this week. You can do the same. If it's not bothering you, hold off. You've got through, I would say January is ideal. You now through January is the kind of your peak window to cut back or prune back your wildflowers. And again, it's going to spread the seeds. Some of you are attracting birds to your gardens. So the birds will appreciate you cutting those back. So the seed will go flying on the ground. They'll be pecking around looking for seed. So a lot of your winter birds, they use that as it's a food source. It's good source of protein for them to get through winter. And so a lot of your summer birds have left. They've migrated out of here. But now your winter birds are migrating in, and they'll spend the time here. So that's your robins, some of that kind of stuff. So it's time. Another one to look for, because the trees have dropped most of their leaves, pruning can begin now, especially if you see dead wood in your plants. Any dead wood is bad. I mean, it just attracts pestilence. So the bulk of the pruning can be done January, February, first part of March. But anytime you see dead wood in your gardens, any time of year, cut it out of there. It is not good. It's just going to attract more flathead borers, bark beetles, things that just naturally feed on the dead wood. It just creates more pestilence. You kind of want that out of there. And it's a fire hazard. So dead wood is just dry and crusty, and it can be a problem. So I was cutting back. Some of my roses had quite a bit of dead canes in the middle of it. I went, that is no good. It'd been years since it'd been done. It was time. Cut it back, and I was amazed how much dead wood came out of that. Fruit trees are notorious for having some dead twigs, branches in there. Cut that out of there. Mimosas. I noticed that my mimosas or silk tassel tree, that's the one that's it's kind of a shorter umbrella shaped tree. It's got a pink flower that the butterflies just love. Hummingbirds are all over this tree. And so we use them to grow at the base of our deck. So when we're up on the story and a half deck, we could look out and we're watching butterflies right there at the canopy level. Well, some of the branches at lower end had died out. Time to prune those things back. It's pretty easy. Just pruners, they'll snap right off. And so don't allow any dead wood in your gardens. The other one to watch too, if you struggled with, let's say, mildew, there was quite a bit of powdery mildew. The flowers last during the monsoon season, usually August, September, somewhere in there. We had quite a few customers coming in with powdery mildew. The foliage was being coated with this white powder. It looked as mildew. It's actually sucking the life, the sugars out of the plant. It coats the foliage so it can no longer create photosynthesis. So the sun is now able to get into the plant because it's coated in this white powder. That comes back every year by the spore that hangs out in the ground or on the foliage as it drops. If you saw that, pick that stuff up and get it off your property, or it will just come right back on that plant immediately. So as you're cleaning up, remember, where did I have issues? Where did I have insects? Where did I have powdery mildew or spots? Those plants, you kind of want to prune back real hard, clean up that foliage and get it out of it, bag it up and throw it away or burn it or just get it out of there so that you can break the cycle. And so many of your aphids and your thrip hibernate underground. So they were on your roses. Now they're down in that litter at the base of the rose. They're going to come right back at you starting in March. So cleanliness is next to godliness. I know that's not biblical, but it sure is in the Bible, the Garden Bible. Cleanliness is next to godliness. I mean, just clean things up. It'll keep it from coming back at you in spring. So we got a little hiatus here. The pressure's off in the gardens, except now's the time to clean up and clean up at your convenience. It's a big window that you've got that you can use with that. All right, we have a lot in store for you. Some great garden questions coming up with Lisa at Watters Lain right after this, after we take a Quick break. Be right back. Okay, maybe after decades of the same fruitcake exchange, it's time to start a new holiday tradition.
A living Christmas tree from Watters Garden Center can be decorated and enjoyed for a lifetime, not just a season.
When the holiday festivities end, gather family and friends and plant your tree together for years of enjoyment.
As your family tree grows, have a tree that grows with your family. From Watters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott. Good enough.
And we are back with Lisa Watters Lain in the studio. She comes each week with your garden questions. Just what are your neighbors talking about in their gardens, and trying to impart some knowledge, just kind of get the Q&A out there. What's everyone talking about? Welcome to the studio, Lisa.
Thank you. Good to be back.
How are your holidays going so far?
Pretty good. I have most of my shopping done.
Really? How about me?
Anymore, it's so easy to shop. I have yours, and they're actually surprisingly good this year. Usually I struggle because you buy what you want. But this year, pretty cool.
I'm excited. Yeah. So
yes.
I've got covered in straw here.
You are covered in straw.
For you folks watching the live on the video piece, luckily it's from just above pants level, so you can't tell if I have pants on, and you can't see all the just covered. And I was unloading,
rolling in the straw.
I was unloading new fountain statues, containers, and the crew needed some extra muscle.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll jump in with you, and it was like a 300-pound huge container, very decorative. And it's the way they pack them is all this like this straw looking stuff. And I didn't look until I got on camera. I'm covered.
Yeah, you
That's
can't
right.
see it. You're
Can't
fine.
see it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I saw some cute pieces as I was walking through, going, "Oh, those are cute."
Great. Christmassy. We brought them in for the Christmassy kind of the gardeners in your life. If they want a fountain, a statue, something cute to decorate, artistic things in the gardens, this is your chance. Get fresh pickings this week.
Fresh pickings.
very, very Arizonan saying, pickings. I have no idea where pickings comes from. Oh, so what are the garden questions people are asking right now?
Well, we do have a few. First one is from Sandra in Prescott. She's growing a Japanese maple in a large container. She wants to know, does it need winter protection, and how often should she be watering it through the winter?
Great question, Sandra. So we have a couple, we have 3 Japanese maples we grow in containers on our patios, a couple in the back, one in the front. Japanese maples are a smaller tree, so it looks like a maple, traditional maple leaf, but just smaller. Here in Arizona, they grow in the shade, more shaded areas. They'll take some sun, but that midday in June, they're not going to like that. So more the north sides, that kind of stuff. Now, they do take the cold. They go down to minus 40 degrees, some crazy cold we'll never see. It's not about the cold. It's about the dry. If they get dry in winter, the tips will kind of burn back. So I would say you don't need to protect them. You don't need to cover them with burlap or all kinds of crazy stuff you read on the internet. You don't have to do that. The secret is water. So her second follow-up question was, how often should I water? Yeah, about once a week. Probably enough. And here's the insider tip. If you hear the weatherman going, oh, it's a cold one, a storm's coming, oh my gosh, it's going to be so brutal, and then we get like a half inch of snow afterwards, say before that event comes, before the cold hits, water your plants. So a hydrated plant, especially Japanese maples, will go through that cold like it was nothing. If it's dry, it's kind of counterintuitive, but if it's dry, it can't keep the antifreeze going up and down, flowing up and down the structure of that plant, and you'll get the tip burn. So it can actually kill the plant if it goes bone dry and you get down to single digits. So keep them hydrated. That's the only thing you have to do, and then that's the only thing you have to do. Sandra, it's too easy.
So keeping them hydrated. Is that once a week?
And once a week.
Okay.
No, once a week.
Did you say that?
I said once a week, or right before a real cold event happens. Right now it gets down to freezing, but that's not cold to Japanese maples. So when we drop from 32 down to 9, because the storms from the north is coming, water it, and that will greatly increase the health of that plant. Keep them healthy.
Sure. Okay. Next question is from Tammy in Prescott Valley. She has geraniums that have suffered some from the cold, but are still alive. She wants to know if she can winter them over inside.
Oh, sure, Tammy. Absolutely. You sure can. In fact, you should have done that a month ago and they wouldn't look rough. So geraniums will go down to the mid 20s, something like that. And then they get vaporized. If they go below mid 20s, they get killed. So I would say trim them back, take the weight off of them. They kind of have a mangy, kind of rangy look now because they've been growing all season. Cut them back. I would say water them, deep soak them, like water them until water's coming out the bottom, because you do have worms and things in the pot. If they've been outdoors, stuff is living in the soil. Try to flush them out. It's kind of gross what comes out the bottom of the holes. And then I would come into the garden center. We've got a systemic granule. There's it looks like fertilizer. You sprinkle it on the ground, and then it takes out any other ants, worms, centipedes, millipedes, fungus gnats. It takes all that stuff out. So you sprinkle it on, water it in again, and it will sterilize the soil. So you're not bringing spiders and things into the house. And then the plant will actually absorb some of that systemic, and it will keep mealyworms and all these other nasty things that can come inside with you, kind of protects it or inoculates that geranium while it's inside. And then probably by next end of April, and take it right back outdoors again and enjoy it again. I had one customer, every year, so disappointed in him. Roy, I'm so disappointed in you. He cuts his geraniums back hard. I mean, just like shaves them right back, puts them in his crawl space where that dirt area underneath your house, puts them back there. It's dark, no sun, just throws them back there, forgets them, brings them back out in April. Watters fertilizes them, and they come back strong. He's got like a couple-year-old geraniums out there. That's
you can kind of, if you did that, it's basically letting them go dormant.
Yeah, it's totally dormant. Yeah.
Or you bring them in, you kind of treat them like a house plant through the winter.
So they'll probably bloom. Yeah. Tammy, if you bring that indoors, you fertilize, where you're getting your systemic granules to keep the bugs away, get a bottle of the flower power. It's a water soluble. It's a special food we make for flowering things. Greatest houseplant food ever, but geraniums love it. Give it some of that, and it'll probably be in bloom. And by the end of the year, it'll probably bloom again for you. Yeah.
Okay. Our last question, I think we have time for, is Jim in Prescott. He has a wildflower patch that has obviously died out, done its thing, gone dormant. Wants to know, should he cut it back or wait to cut it back? And then also, does he need to water that through the winter at all?
Yeah, good question. So who was that again, Roger? Jim. Sorry, Jim. Jim from Prescott. Got it. Cut them back whenever you want, whenever you feel you want to get some sunshine out there. If you don't, the snow is just naturally going to make it kind of mat down as we go through winter. Birds will peck through it and look for it and stuff. So you can prune it back at your convenience whenever you feel like. Do you water it? Should you fertilize? Should you care for it through the winter? I would say it is good to fertilize it. Not so much right now. I would say into February, fertilize it with the all-purpose plant food. That is going to encourage additional seed growth. And if you really want, if you want them to go crazy, if you want flowers like you've never seen, give them the all-purpose plant food. So while you're spreading that out, also give it humic. Humic is humic acid. It helps seed germinate and get deeper roots. And so if you get deeper roots from your new seedlings next spring and you fertilize them, you're going to have people are going to be walking by going, wow, Jim, how did you pull that off? That's crazy. How do I do that? Well, I listened to this couple on the airwaves. They call them the mountain gardeners, and they just told me to fertilize it with humic and all-purpose plant food. And you get this, voila. And that's what we do I've got a couple patches. So we do, and it's just what it's the picture. It's what you envision wildflowers should be. That's what they are, because we do those two things. You do it right before they germinate in spring. So you're going to start germinating sometime in March. So do it the 1st of March into February, and you'll have a great pass. Water. Don't water very much. Maybe water them a couple times a month. If it's been dry, because we get some real dry spells, that'll keep the roots. They're hibernating underground right now. A good wildflower patch is a perennial. The roots are hibernating. They will come back next spring. But if you watered them a couple times a month and get a nice snow, cut one of those out, they'd be super happy with you, Jim. So that's how you take care of wildflowers.
Okay.
Great questions this week, folks. All right, Ken and Lisa Lain, the Mountain Gardeners. Be right back after this.
Hi, Watters with the plants of the week and our Roman beauty rosemary.
This Mediterranean beauty has graceful, arching branches that flow over rock walls, raised beds, or container's edge.
A culinary herb often used in potpourri.
Rugged, deer-resistive, evergreen, likes crummy soil, drought, and abuse. Now that's my kind of shrub.
Watters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott, where people who love unusual, healthy herbs, they love to shop.
As I clean up some of the gardens, I like to add some fertilizer. Now, fertilizer can be manure. Now, over my vegetable gardens and my flower beds, as they're cleaned up, I do like putting some organic material on top of that, so as it just composts slowly over the winter. And so when I'm ready to plant, starting into February and March, I'm just ready to go, just like that. It's been sitting there, just doing the garden a favor. It attracts more worms. There's a lot of benefits. But in addition, I'm also adding some fertilizer. This is a great time to fertilize your evergreen trees. Some of them in your neighborhood, you're starting to see them to turn yellow. So deodar cedars, pine trees, Colorado spruce have this. They look unhealthy. This yellow hue, we call it winter chlorosis. So as the days get real short, and you're sensing the days are short right now, and they're only going to get shorter for about another week. Let's see, the 21st, I believe, is the winter solstice, shortest day of the year. And then it will get longer from there. So plants they're feeling it. And so they're showing up there, this yellowing, this winter chlorosis. And so fertilizing plants now keeps that chlorosis away from your plants. It keeps them greener, richer, fuller, thicker. And it will set the stage for next spring's additional growth. So mainly you're just keeping them green right now. Now I have quite a few customers so really we fertilized heavily last September, October. So it's been a couple months. It's time to hit them again, especially your evergreens. But what back then I had several customers that they read something online. You can't believe everything you read online. The internet is not always right. In fact, frequently I'm baffled by why people read this stuff. But plant spikes. So they make this real hard spike that you drive into the ground. And the myth is one spike will fertilize the plant for a year. Now, the spike does actually stay in the ground in the garden for a year. I find that they just don't work though. And so I think the secret is one spike doesn't do it. It takes a dozen of them to fertilize a bigger tree. And then even then, you need to put it where the fertilizer is releasing, where the feeder roots are. And where are those? And so you never find the right spot. And so I've tried several years. I tried them. I mean, that'd be great. The magic bullet, get the right spike in the right place, fertilize for a year. I'm done. Once I'm done, I'll pay almost any amount to get rid of work and just do it once. But it didn't work. The plants suffered. They weren't thick. They were yellow and they didn't have big leaves. They were small. They didn't flower as much. The fruit wasn't as big. Plant spikes, it is virtually impossible to get them at the right spot where the roots can pick up all that nutrient. And so I just stopped selling them at the garden center. I said, if I'm going to offer gardeners a product, it better work. And so I was trying it myself. Plant spikes don't work. Liquid fertilizers like Miracle Grow, Peter's 20-20-20. These you add a scoop into a gallon of water and it fertilizes plants. Those are pretty good for raised beds, for containers, for houseplants. Terrible for plants out in the yard. If you're going to fertilize your trees and your shrubs, your vines, your perennial flowers out in the yard, use a granular fertilizer. And I would say use an organic granular fertilizer. All natural foods are much better. You don't want to eat processed food, ultra high processed foods, nor do your plants. And that's what a chemical-based fertilizer is. Your Scott's Turf Builders, all these fast-released chemical fertilizers. It's not as good for your plants. It burns off the worms. They don't like it. Your beneficial things that live in the ground that do your plants a favor, it damages them while the plant grows. You're much better off using organic fertilizers. And so we make a 7-4-4 all-purpose plant food. It's cottonseed meal and bird guano and some other stuff in there that just spread it out there. And as the rains and the snows hit, it just releases a little bit over a very long period of time. And that's what plants want. And then we juice it with some iron and some sulfur. That's what's going to keep your plants green. So your evergreens, your spruce, your junipers, cypress, cedars, firs, all these evergreen plants, the hollies, the red tip photinias are notorious for turning yellow in the winter. Fertilize those, it will keep them green, and you'll get a much better red growth. There's red-tipped photinia. The new growth is red as it grows, big shade. It's like a screening plant. Grows 10 by 10 by 10 or even bigger. But if you fertilize that now, you'll get tremendous red growth in the spring. They usually start growing March, but it will mainly keep them green right now. It's game changer. So as you trim things up, clean them up, rake things up, look for where bugs were or mildew was growing last year. Clean that area up, then fertilize it. It'll keep it green, keep it healthy, and get you better growth. That is pest-free, disease-free next spring. But now's your time to do that work for spring growth in a couple months. Hey, we've got more in store for you. Be right back right after this.
The holidays are here in Arizona's Christmas City, bringing family closer and those chilly winter winds.
While you're decorating the outside, don't forget to brighten up the inside with exotic Christmas plants from Watters.
Beautiful Christmas cactus and poinsettia are coming to town, grown exclusively by Watters in colors you won't find anywhere else.
Unique, vibrant, and guaranteed to warm even the dreariest winter day.
Check your list twice for exotic Christmas plants at Watters Garden Center in Prescott.
And we are back with Lisa Watters Lain in the studio. We give this segment completely to her. I try not to jump in or say anything so that we can get more garden tips, tricks, and advice, insider scoop on from a woman's perspective, my gal's perspective, another master gardener here at the Garden Center. Welcome back to the studio, Lisa.
Thank you. Good to be here. Beautiful day. Beautiful time to be in Prescott.
Sunny.
And the surrounding areas.
Yeah. I call it the Central Highlands because it's Sedona is the same as Camp Verde, is the same as Cornville, the same as Skull Valley, Paulden, Prescott, Prescott Valley. We're all kind of the same. So this advice just is good. So the plants go here, the same planting technique. It's the same. So that's why I think the reason we have so many people from the other side of the Mingus Mountains, the Mingus Mountains, potato patch, is people are coming over to get Trader Joe's and Costco, and then they stop by the Garden Center because they're tuned into the show. They get a poinsettia or whatever. How do I plant this tree? But the pine trees that grow here will grow there. The lilacs that grow here will grow there. The pansies, the tomatoes that they grow here, they grow there. And we're about the same zone, same season, same everything. Yep.
Very true.
So what kind of garden tips you got for us?
Well,
share.
Last week we were talking about poinsettias, where they came from, how did they become a Christmas plant?
Yeah.
And we kind of briefly touched on Christmas cactus, but we didn't really hit on it too much. But one thing we did say, we were like, well, is Christmas cactus really a cactus?
And we said
no.
No.
But we were wrong.
Oh, really? It truly is a cactus.
Truly,
or what?
It's in the genus family of cacti.
There we go.
So it is technically a cactus.
Cool.
Which I did not know. No, it's not like a prickly pear. No, you can't grow it outside. It actually originates from the Central Coast Mountains of Brazil.
Oh, there you go. Amazonian.
Really? So kind of high. It likes kind of the higher altitude forest areas where there's moisture. So they actually, in their native environment, grow kind of like almost like an air plant, where they're on trees. They grow on trees,
like an orchid,
right? Or on moist rocks. So they don't really put out roots into the soil in their native environment. They do here. We grow them in soil. But it truly is a cactus. So we learned something.
We did.
Yes.
So did our listeners. You see, that's the reason you tune in every week.
Right.
There we go. Been doing this for decades.
Mhm.
We just passed our 650th upload to Podbean,
Really?
so to our podcast,
Cool.
and we're almost at 100,000 downloads. So it's like
Wow.
people are gaining traction, and we're starting to have other, PR companies going, hey, they got something going on. We should go try to ask them for money. We can scale this for you. I don't care about going national. I don't care about us here.
The Central Highlands.
It's just us in the Central Highlands.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Otherwise, it'd be work. This is just fun.
This is fun.
If you turn into work, it won't be as much fun.
So back to Christmas cactus,
Sorry.
which truly is a cactus. So here like I said, inside, they don't need a lot of water. You water when the top inch or two is dry, then you get water on them. They don't want it to be constantly wet.
Once a week, once a month.
Going to depend on your home somewhat. Okay. So I hate to tell people a specific.
Twice a month?
Because some of it's the soil. I like to use the stick your finger in the soil test.
Oh, moisture meter. Yeah. Okay. Tools make gardening easy.
And if it's dry, you water it. Bright room. Definitely, but super easy to care for and live 50 years or more. Yeah. I mean, there's Christmas cactuses that great grandma had, and they're super easy to take a slip off of and restart to propagate another one. So that's what a lot of families do. Someone has great grandmas and they all give slips to somebody and move them on, but super easy plant to grow. A little bit more of a challenge to try to get it back into color again. But there's actually, which we can discuss that later. That's kind of another part. But there are basically three kinds. There's the Thanksgiving cactus, which blooms at Thanksgiving. The Christmas cactus, which actually blooms at Christmas. And then there's an Easter cactus, which blooms in usually March to April, somewhere in there.
Are they different ones, or they actually naturally bloom at those times, or they program them to bloom?
They actually naturally bloom at those times.
Wow.
And a lot of so the question is now, and they think that the Thanksgiving and the Christmas cactus, they've interbred them so much, hybridized them, that they're kind of the same now. So the botanical is Slumbergera.
Say that 10 times fast.
Yeah. Which is some guy's name who kind of found them in Paris. It's a whole long story. Kind of got boring, so I ignored it. But there's only maybe 16 actually varieties of Christmas cactus out there. So, but they just naturally bloom at different times of the year. They became
an autumn bloomer and a spring bloomer. Basically, there's two models.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So kind of like Heath or Heather, they have a spring and a fall.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Plus, they've kind of interbred them, and there's a lot they do to that. Became fairly popular in the 1800s is when they started becoming popular. And so there's basically kind of three stories as to why they're Christmas cactus. Because they're from Brazil, not so it's
hardcore Catholics and stuff down there. I don't know. It's
well, that's kind of what the stories are. So the first story is there was a young man in Brazil. He was in the jungle and it was just hot and it was humid. And he was praying to God that God would just kind of change the weather because he was just miserable, which who wouldn't be in the jungles?
Sounds like a Jonah the whale story or whatever.
So he was praying that, God would change that. And then on Christmas Day, he emerged from his hut and he looked out into the jungle and it was just full of flowering cacti.
Oh, that's neat.
So that's one story.
Okay.
Second story is
I was thinking red and white or bringing more into it. You have the color of Christ and all those religious symbols. That's good. It's a good Brazilian story.
There you go.
I just want it to be nicer weather.
The second one is a Jesuit missionary in Bolivia. He was trying to teach the Bible to the villagers, but he was really struggling because they didn't trust him. They just didn't believe him. So he prayed, and then on Christmas Day, he prayed for guidance, trying, he wants to help people. And suddenly he heard singing in the back. And he's like, what's that? And they were singing a hymn that he had taught them. Oh. And then he turned around, and there were the village children bringing flowering cactus into the church to give to the baby Jesus.
Neat. That's kind of a neat one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's a good one.
They finally trusted him. They sang out loud.
and then it flowers.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then the third one, and this is probably more likely, is because they bloom around Christmas.
Oh, the science behind it is
Yeah.
they bloom about then.
That's basically what the Illinois extension was basically. They're Christmas cactus because they bloom around Christmas. So that kind of makes sense too.
Yeah.
But I like learning the different legends and
every
hearing about
plant
them.
has tremendous stories.
Mhm.
And there's new ones being developed every year. We
Oh, yeah.
introduce at our spring open house. It's usually the weekend right before spring. We introduce a lot of the new things you'll never find anywhere else except here. We've grown them. It's a new. They're just being introduced here in this area at the spring open house. And so you'll see a new lilac that's maybe shorter or brighter or has a bigger forsythia with bigger flowers on it, something like that. So there's new ones being, and the people that developed those, that found them, that created that, propagated them, usually their name's attached to it, and
That's
there's
where
a
you get
story
the
on
name.
how they found it. I know guys that go out there in Tibet between the 4,000 and 5,000 foot level. They just scour looking for new kinds of plants, and that's where this Christmas cactus came from. I'm sure they were scouring. Sounds like Bolivia and the Amazon, Brazil, and they found it and said, "Oh, we could grow that around Christmas. We'll call it a Christmas cactus."
Right.
Well, thank you,
Definitely.
Lisa. If you need a handout on how to make it bloom again, we have one of those here at the Garden Center, or get it yourself. Just go to wattersgardencenter.com and type in the search bar, like Christmas cactus. It'll pop right up. So it's there to help you. All right. Throughout the week, Lisa and I, we camp out here at Watters Garden Center. If you want more garden history on all things holidays, last week is poinsettias. This week's it's Christmas cactus. Come visit us. Back after this.
Look, if your wife, mom, or dad wants an ugly sweater for Christmas, get them a sweater, not some piece of plastic.
But if someone you truly care about loves their garden, a gift card to Watters makes perfect sense.
Next spring, she can pick exactly what she was hoping.
We all know it's not the same as a huge flower basket or fragrant rose, but hey, it's winter. Gardeners understand.
Watters online gift cards are found at top10plants.com or at Watters Garden Center in Prescott.
So lots of holiday plants going out right now from the Garden Center, at least here in Prescott. So we're kind of famous for our poinsettias, Christmas cactus, even houseplants are going out. I've noticed quite a few bigger trees. That is pine, spruce, firs, the big evergreen trees. So people are decorating or adding to, and it is perfectly fine to plant right now. It is absolutely a great time to plant. I thought I would give you an insider tip on how to plant that in the yard right now. So your pressure's off right now. So plants are dormant. They're moving, they're alive, but they're in stasis. They're kind of slow motion. And that's why it's so difficult to make a mistake by planting now. If you do make a mistake, it will be you planted it, walked away, and didn't do anything until it wakes up next March. So it's going to need some care over the next, 8 to 12 weeks. It's going to need some water, basically, a couple times a month. And when you're planting it, the secret is making sure you hydrate that surrounding soil well, because that moisture will stay there for a long time. It'll stay around that root ball for a couple of weeks, which is great. Whereas if you're to plant this in March when it's windy and dry, in June when it's just blistering sun, you'd have to water that thing every 2-3 days. Now you don't. So the pressure's off. The plant likes it because it'll wake up next spring and go, what happened? I went to bed. I was at the farm and I was growing in this beautiful bucket and now I'm in the yard. What is this? And so here's a couple tricks, especially for evergreens. So I'm planting some Arizona cypress at our yard, just in between the houses. So I want to block between the two buildings, my house and yours. And I don't want to see you in your kitchen, your skivvies, making your coffee. I just don't want to see that. I want to block that off. And so we're planting some Arizona cypress, the fastest growing of the thick, kind of juniper looking types or native looking evergreens. They grow up about 20 feet tall, 12 feet wide. It's perfect for a fast growing screen. And if we plant it now, let's say a nice 15-gallon size, 6, 7, 8 foot tree, it's going to grow even more next spring because it's going to root out some, and it will just wake up and go, it must be okay. I'm going to grow right here. So I'll get more growth next spring by planting now. Here's how to do it. When you're planting, whatever it is, whatever the size of the bucket is, that's as deep as the hole needs to be. You do not need to go very deep. You're going wide. Roots go sideways. There's nothing down there in Arizona soil, especially elevation. There's nothing down there for them. They're not going to go after more caliche and rock, and there's no soil. There's no richness down there. We're not in the Midwest where you've got 6 foot of topsoil. They just have more rock layers down there. The roots go sideways in search of more nutrients, more water around the yard. They're going to search out looking for things. And so if you know that's how the roots are going to grow, encourage that. Just go all in. The same depth as the bucket, 3 times the width, kind of saucer shaped. That's the shape of your hole, planting hole. When you dig that hole, when that soil comes out, if you get any debris that's bigger than a golf ball, that has to be screened out, has to be screened. You need to get rid of that junk. It's just going to heat up in summer. I know it's cool now, but it's going to be hot. Those big particles, a big chunky rock doesn't hold enough water molecules to kind of keep things moist. And so you want to screen that stuff out of there. Old roots, they just sit there and compost in the ground. You don't want that. It robs the nutrients. It'll take nitrogen from the tree you're planting in order to feed the composting roots and weeds and that kind of stuff. You don't leave that stuff in the ground. Get it out of there. Of course, boulders, rocks. Some of you live on the rock piles. I don't know how you dig a hole up there. So by the time you get done digging a big boulder out of there, there's no soil left. So you might have to bring in some topsoil. We sell topsoil by the bag. So it's for that reason. And so, but dig your hole. If it's ideal, you don't have to screen it very much. You just amend what's left over with some compost, so premium mulch. So we do make a composted bark product that looks real rich. It looks like coffee grounds, only a little bit bigger. So you want to add some more organic into that surrounding native crummy soil. You're not going to dig out nice stuff. It's going to be crummy. Blend about 25% premium mulch to your native soil and blend that together. And that's what you're going to use to backfill around that root ball. So as you blend that, if you hit a rock or something and you need to use a little bit more mulch as filler, go ahead. You can go up to about 50-50. After that, it gets too rich. And there you need to really get a bag of topsoil. So, but most of us, we can use about 25-30% mulch to our native soil, blend that together. That's going to loosen up that native soil so it doesn't come back down so the roots can get through it faster. And it's going to hold the moisture in around the root ball through the winter. And it's going to attract worms. So the beneficial things that are attracted to the richness of your soil, it's going to bring them in. And so those are all good things. So you're going to take that plant out of the bucket, loosen up the bottom roots. Rarely, I mean, you should not buy a plant that's root bound. That is where the roots are going spiraling round and round and round. That's an old plant they couldn't sell last year. So it's a carryover, a leftover, and they're still trying to get it to you. Many times they'll be cheaper priced. They'll be because they're leftovers. They're getting rid of them. But once a plant's roots start growing round and round and round like that, they never stop. I know they say to root prune it, and that's what you have to do if that's the case. But even then, when you prune that wraparound root, it just knows that's what I got to do. I'm wrapping around. It just keeps growing that way. So just try to, if you do see that at the bottom a little bit, just loosen them up a bit. Keep the root ball intact, but loosen the side roots a bit, not a lot, just a little bit. Then you gently put it in the ground. Take that mulch and native soil, wrap it around, just kind of pack it in around that root ball to keep it upright. And that's what you do. What I do before I put the plant in the ground, because I want to hydrate the surrounding soil. If I'm going to plant these new Arizona cypress, I'm going to have my hose out there. I'm going to hydrate that soil in the root ball to kind of that before I even put the root in the ground. I'm going to fill that planting hole up halfway with water. Not to water the plant that I'm going to put in there, but to water the surrounding soil so it doesn't wick water away from this new plant I put in the ground. That's what's going to ensure that plant stays moist for the next couple of weeks. So I'll fill it up halfway with water. I'll set my plant on top in the water on top, hit that hole. I'll backfill it with the mulch and native soil. Then I'm going to sprinkle a layer, a handful or two of all-purpose plant food. Then I'll top it off by watering it all in at the very end, kind of making sure everything is hydrated, and you're pretty much set for a couple of weeks. Now, here's the insider tip. Our snows to come can be very heavy. And so especially on fast-growing Deodar cedars, very fast-growing Arizona cypress, these things grow, they just grow so fast, the wood hasn't solidified. And so these heavy snows come on, they're lighting up on these branches, and then they just weep. They fall over almost. So staking your evergreen trees, especially spruce, pine, fir, cypress, cedar, junipers, all these evergreens, stake that. So as the snows come, the plant doesn't load up with 100 pounds of snow and then fall right over. The root hairs will continue forming slowly, but they are still rooting. So it'll keep you from breaking those as it goes over. It won't kill the tree, but why come back out and have it after heavy snowstorm, have to prop it back up? So staking is the secret for this time of year for trees and shrubs, mainly evergreens. That you're going to have to do that with. It's a game changer. Next year, you could probably cut that off. The stakes only need to stay on for about a year. And then once that new ring of growth forms, it's going to solidify. The roots are underneath it. It will stand up straight in even the most ferocious of snowstorms. So that's kind of the insider tip. A lot of folks go, this spruce is heavy on its own. It is, and it will stay up by itself until it gets 100 pounds of snow. Then it flops right over. So to stake it, 2 stakes on either side, just tie it once. Just one, we make a V-strap with some wire, just holds it upright, and it's just going to take the pressure off, keep that plant from just flopping over under the weight of all that wet snow. It's mainly going to happen February, March. Those snows are pretty heavy. That's how you plant this time of year. Mulch, food, nice same size hole, 3 times the width. It's that easy, really. Water it a couple times a month, and you're good to go. Be right back with more after this.
Look, if your wife, mom, or dad wants an ugly sweater for Christmas, get them a sweater, not some piece of plastic.
But if someone you truly care about loves their garden, a gift card to Watters makes perfect sense.
Next spring, she can pick exactly what she was hoping.
We all know it's not the same as a huge flower basket or fragrant rose, but hey, it's winter. Gardeners understand.
Watters online gift cards are found at top10plants.com or at Watters Garden Center in Prescott.
This has been a very busy week for me and the crew here at Watters Garden Center. Now, we've got some time to take care of or nurture or clean up or maintain the garden center. And so we've been changing out every single light bulb in the garden center with LED lights. So we're converting all the fluorescent, T8, the traditional fluorescent light bulbs. It's getting expensive. They're hot. They're difficult to maintain. You're up there all the time, change the light bulbs every month. LEDs, we've been experimenting with those, and you put them up and they're good for years, and they reduce your electric bill by dramatic amounts. And so now commercial settings, we have literally hundreds of bulbs, and they're on all the time. It's like you come in, you turn the lights on, and they stay on. And so we've changed out hundreds of them already. We didn't give it all changed out. I mean, it's just a portion of them. And we've got a reduction of electricity by $600. It's amazing the difference. So the incandescents, we have a few of those, not very many. Mainly it's the 4-foot tubes. We've changed out the fluorescent ones with LED. We take the ballast out, rewired it, and I'm pretty handy that way. So, research a YouTube video that shows how to do it. Kind of, hey, you try it once with the lights off, with the power off. So I'm not going to electrocute myself. Deep respect for you electricians. I do have respect for being electrocuted, but with the power off, you're pretty safe. You try it. And then you go, oh, let's follow this again. You try it once, go, hey, this worked. It's pretty good. And so now we've changed out. We just finished the last one this week. And this is stuff we can do in the winter because it's not quite as busy. I could never do electrical work in March and April when it's just mayhem. Customers are everywhere. They've been inside way too long and they want flowers and vegetables and new flowering shrubs. They're just all in. And so now's the time I do. And this is what I love about being a small business owner. You never get bored. You're not specialized. I mean, yes, I do plants, but that's my passion. I just love when I get really stressed out. I've been shopping credit card rates or insurance or whatever too much. I get an irritated customer that just they suck the life out of you, and you just need a boost. I go out and I talk to my customers about gardening, plants, my favorite, what works, what doesn't. It's like a joy. But then I get to be a plumber or electrician, or I get to lay pavers or shop for a new car. You're always doing different things. And so you never get bored. And the beauty of a seasonal business. So spring is our peak time because every department's open. So we don't have vegetables right now. We got a few winter vegetables. I think there's some left. Very few perennials. That department's kind of shut down. These are major volume going through with that. We have lots of trees going out now, lots of shrubs. So that department, lots of houseplants, lots of Christmas plants. Those departments are still going, but half the departments are kind of at half throttle. So I've got time, whole crew, we've got time to maintain it. So we sat down and we put all new shopping cart wheels. I hate going to a retailer and the carts are all wobbly and squeaky and you're flopping around. It just drives me crazy. And I don't like that for myself. I don't want that for customers come spring. So we have, 100 shopping carts, something like that. There's a lot. And so we changed out the wheels. So they'll be nice and straight and they work well next spring. So these are things you never get bored being a small business owner. So could I make more money in corporate? Probably. But would I be as happy? No way. Would I get bored sitting in a cubicle? Absolutely. So I just love owning a small family garden center here at Watters Garden Center. Truly. All right. That's it for this show. We will be back next week. Everyone, until then, have a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, and happy Hanukkah, I believe, for all my Jewish friends out there. Throughout the week, Lisa and I camp out here at Watters Garden Center.
The holidays are here in Arizona's Christmas City, bringing family closer and those chilly winter winds.
While you're decorating the outside, don't forget to brighten up the inside with exotic Christmas plants from Watters.
Beautiful Christmas cactus and poinsettia are coming to town, grown exclusively by Watters in colors you won't find anywhere else.
Unique, vibrant, and guaranteed to warm even the dreariest winter day.
Check your list twice for exotic Christmas plants at Watters Garden Center in Prescott.
For a more fruitful garden, increase success in the landscape that just feels better, then tune in daily to the Mountain Gardener podcast. Subscribe through your favorite podcast streamer or visit wattersgardencenter.com. Better yet, visit me directly right here at Watters Garden Center. Thanks for tuning in.